Little Scout Finds a Home, a true story, with illustrations by Dall-E 2 Artificial Intelligence. The little Scout was born along with 8 of his brothers and sisters. The people who lived with Scout's mother thought this was too many cats. Instead of keeping all these adorable kittens, they decided to give them to other people. That way other people could experience all the joy and happiness a kitty can bring to a family. A lonely woman came to look at the kittens. She thought a kitty could be a companion for her so she would be less lonely. The lonely woman looked over all the adorable fluffy kittens. She asked, "Which one should I choose?" Each kitten was adorable in their own way. There were 3 orange kittens with dark and light stripes like little tigers, and they were adorable. These little tigers all looked very similar to each other. There were 4 kittens that were black and white. Each was just a little bit different from the others, so all were adorable. There were 2 calico kittens, which looked like they were made out of leftover parts from the other kittens. They weren't really made out of other cats, but they looked like they might have been. Calico cats are like that. When the woman made her choice, she picked up the little Scout. She said, "I think this one looks the most adorable," and she took the little Scout home with her. They rode inside of a car. This was the first time that little Scout had ever been in a car. The little Scout could see the whole world pass by as they drove a long, long way to the woman's house. The woman's house was big and lonely. No other cats were there. Little Scout missed his mother. He missed his brothers and sisters as well. The woman brought food and water for the little Scout. She made a bed for him out of a blanket and spent some time with him so he didn't feel so lonely the first night that he was there. In the morning, the woman went off to work. This was the first time in his life that the little Scout was all alone, and he was afraid. Hours passed, and there were strange noises coming from outside the house. Little Scout was afraid, and no one was there to comfort him. Not his mother, or his brothers and sisters, not even the lady who brought him here. He was all alone. Eventually, the little Scout started to explore the big new house he found himself in. There were all sorts of strange things in the house. Little Scout didn't know what all of these things were, but it was obvious that they must be cat toys of some kind. The little Scout found a glass vase which could do a trick. It could separate into several pieces when he pushed it on the floor. He found a sofa which was just the perfect thing to sharpen his claws on. Cats need to sharpen their claws by clawing into something and pulling back. This peels off the dull upper layer of the claw, revealing a slightly shorter but much sharper layer below. The little Scout played with his new toys all day. Much later, the woman returned to the house. The little Scout knew it was her because he recognized the sound of her footsteps. Everyone has footsteps that sound just a little bit different from the footsteps of everyone else. Cats can hear this difference, so they know who's coming before they get there. The little Scout ran to the door to greet his new friend as she arrived. The door opened, and sure enough, there was the woman, little Scout's new friend. He was so happy to see her. All he wanted was to be close to her again so they could comfort each other and love each other. For some unknown reason, the woman rushed right past the little Scout. She went straight to the vase that the little Scout had played with earlier in the day. She seemed very upset as she gathered up the pieces. Then the woman went over to the sofa and looked at the nice soft place that little Scout had found to sharpen his claws. The woman was very upset about something. She made a phone call to another woman named Lauren. Soon Lauren showed up at the woman's house. The woman showed Lauren the vase, the sofa, and many of the other toys that the little scout had played with during the day when he was all alone. The woman told Lauren that she didn't want the little scout. She thought that she wanted to love him and have him cuddle up next to her, but she didn't like the mess a kitty makes. She did not like that at all. She had called Lauren because Lauren already had some cats. Maybe Lauren could take care of the little scout. Soon Lauren picked up the little scout and gave him a big hug and left the house with him. Once more the little scout rode in a car. This was a different car, and they drove past different scenery. The little scout could see all sorts of places, and things passed by as they drove. Soon they arrived at Lauren's house. Lauren has two larger cats, a dog and a toddler. Lauren gave the little scout a bowl of food and a bowl of water. Then she went into her home office to work. No sooner had Lauren left the room and another bigger cat walked towards the little scout. This was the first cat that the little scout had seen since the woman took him away from his mother and his brothers and sisters. The little scout was so happy to see another cat. The little scout ran towards the bigger cat, but as soon as he did, the cat turned sideways, arching his back and making the hairs along its back stand up like a punk rocker hairstyle. The little scout turned sideways and made his hair stand up as well. What a fun game this is. The bigger cat walked past the little scout and went to the food bowl. It started eating the food, but then a second cat came into the room. It ran over to the bowl, and both cats worked at eating and shoving the other away from the bowl while they ate. There was no more left for the little scout. While this was happening, a small person, a human child, came into the room. The little scout thought this must be a kitten of people. The toddler ran towards the two cats eating the little scout's food. The cats ran off as soon as they saw the toddler headed their way. The next thing that happened was very scary for the little scout. The toddler grabbed the little scout's tail. She held the tail tight. The little scout tried to run, but he was held firmly by his tail. He tried to push really hard with all four legs, but couldn't get away. The toddler picked the little scout up by his tail and tried to give him a big hug, but little scout was afraid and wiggled to try and get away. The more he wiggled, the tighter the toddler squeezed him. It was so tight that it hurt, and the little scout tried even harder to get away. Finally, the little scout broke free and ran off. He found a good hiding place where no one could find him. Hiding became the little scout's best trick. When the toddler came looking for him, he hid. When the dogs came looking for him, he hid. He hid from the other cats, and sometimes he even hid from Lauren. You just can't be too careful when a toddler, a dog, and two bigger cats are about. One day, Lauren heard about an old man who had a cat that he loved dearly. His cat had died, and he missed his kitty. The old man lived in a big house all by himself. He had no other cats, he had no dogs, and he didn't have any small children either. Lauren called the old man and said that she had an adorable little kitten, but the kitten was afraid of her toddler, dog, and other cats. She asked if the man could take care of the little scout. Soon the man arrived at the door of Lauren's house. Lauren took the little scout outside and put him in the man's car. The little scout was just 6 months old and was going to his 4th home, but this time was different. The old man had cats before. He had a cat or several cats most of his life, and he loved his kitties. The old man's sofa had already been clawed by other cats, and it was okay for the little scout to sharpen his claws there, or on the carpet, or anywhere that he found to sharpen them. The old man loved the little scout, and in time the little scout came to love the old man in return. They would always be together. They would go on many adventures together, but for now the little scout was home. He had finally found his forever home.